Coming back to this camping setup reminds me why I enjoy a simple tent and tarp setup so much. So today we're out camping with the Snow Peak Alpha Breeze and Hexa Evo Pro, and we've also got a lot of new accessories as well. So we have some new lighting by Snow Peak. We have a whole new sleep system inside the tent and a bunch of new accessories. So we'll get into all that later in this video. But out front here, this Evo Pro tarp here just provides so much shade and so much coverage. It's great, honestly, for year-round camping. And we have a really simplified, kitchen setup around the fire here. And for me, like, whether it's like an overnight trip like we did or an entire week, this is pretty much everything I would ever want or need. It's just a basic, single burner stove. We have our dish bin here so we can do dishes in there. Plenty of space for prep work. We have a little extra table on the end there. And just having this connected to the fire here is really nice. So right now we're camping in the end of August. So, fire restrictions are still in place in a lot of areas. This is the Zutto propane adapter. It's a really convenient way to manage a fire while you're out camping. I mean, you can see, you can just turn it off right now and you don't have fire. You don't have to wait for any wood to burn out. And if you want to crank it up, if you're freezing, this thing can put out some serious heat. And I've been using it a lot this entire summer, and I'm really happy about it. It's my first propane adapter. Zutto hooked us up with one, of course, to try out. And they make them in Portland, so it's actually the owner of the company makes these himself and puts these kits together, and it's a really nice kit. It's very high quality. So around the Takibi fire pit here, we have the Jikaro firing table, and this thing provides a ton of extra table space. And I took a long time before I actually went and bought this table set because I thought it might be cumbersome to bring and to put together. It's actually one of the simplest tables to put together, and the legs just click right into place. It just has these little like thumb style screws right here underneath here to lock the whole thing into place. And it's a genius design, and it adds so much to our outdoor living space here. At nighttime when we're dining, often we'll just move our chairs right over to the side of the fire pit here and just eat right along the fire, which is a really nice experience. And as you can see here, I have my IGT hooked right into the Jikaro frame right here. So I only have 2 legs actually on the IGT, and this is a great way to do it as well. It just creates a really nice streamlined, simplified setup here. And these are the low height legs. So these are the 400mm legs that I have hooked to it right now. And that's the perfect height with those Snow Peak Low beach chairs as well. I think this creates just a really nice coffee table height to sit around, dine on, socialize. For me, this is probably my favorite, height setup for the IGT system. This is my dish bin. Right now I'm just storing my dishes in it, but we also use it to wash our dishes as well with the Dometic sink system. Everything actually just pops right out of the frame. This is a little bit tricky when it's full to get out, so sometimes I'll just put my Snow Peak folding pack bucket inside of it, so to speak, as like a liner. I kind of wish this eventually comes with like an extra insert liner that fits perfectly to it, or you could just remove it. I think that would be genius for this product, so you don't have to take the whole thing out. But other than that, yeah, this is a great size. I've been using the 4-unit quite a bit, honestly, as my main IGT setup. I feel like it gives you plenty of space, to still use it as a table in between. Sometimes I'll even add my sliding extension table to it as well for extra prepping space. But even though we just spent an overnight trip out here with this setup, I think this is a really great setup for even an entire week. I could easily see us spending that with this right here. Obviously, we need to just bring more food with us. So speaking of food, this is where we're keeping all of our food. So we have the Oyster cooler right here. This is a great like overnight cooler. You can probably get a weekend out of it, but anything longer than that, I'll typically be bringing my Dometic fridge, or I'm gonna be needing to add ice to it, because if you're going out for a week, this just isn't gonna hold the ice that long, obviously. But other than that, this thing has been a fantastic cooler. I've used it all summer, and I brought it with me on pretty much every trip just because of how lightweight and small it is. I mean, this thing takes up no room. Out of all my coolers, this is by far the lightest and the smallest, and it performs really well. It's just a really nicely designed cooler, and right now I have not much food left because we're about to leave actually, but I have some banana bread in here just to take up some space. And oh, we got some peaches still and some ginger ale and yogurt, but it can hold more than this. I definitely have got a weekend's worth of food out of this one. I should probably lock that. I also have my Yeti GoBox right here. This is the LoadOut 30. Eventually I might get a larger GoBox. I feel like we're starting to fill these things up pretty quickly now. But yeah, this holds my cast iron pan. I have my kettle in here, all my coffee gear, snacks, stuff like that. For overnight, weekend trips, this one can kind of cut it. But when the three of us all go out, I think I want to start bringing a bigger GoBox or bin system. Just because I feel like, for bringing extra cookware and a little bit of extra things, you can kind of get this thing pretty crammed and it gets hard to find stuff in there. So I think a little bit bigger of a bin might be the next step. But yeah, we have it all on top of our Snow Peak mesh bench, and this thing is very versatile. This is generally brought as a seat, but often I'm using it as a cooler stand and just storage rack, so to speak. You can use it pretty much for anything, and it's great for kids. Emmett loves just, chilling on this bench. He'll sometimes just lay across the whole thing. It's a perfect size for kids and adults, and it's just a really versatile piece, and I've been using it pretty much every trip since I got it. So for this setup, we're using the luxury low beach chairs. I have a full video actually on these chairs and the high back versions of these chairs. I'll put a link to it in the description. So also up top here, we have the liner going on with the Hexa Evo Pro. This isn't the Takibi liner. This is just the liner that comes with this set. And it just blocks out extra light, probably protects you a little bit more from the UV rays, stuff like that, and may even keep it a little bit cooler under here. But yeah, it definitely provides even more shade feeling with that extra gray liner. Eventually, I do want to add on the Takibi liner, especially as fall is coming up really soon. I want to get actual wood burning fires under this tarp just because of how much coverage you have under here. I imagine when it's raining out, having a setup like this and having that wood fire going, it would be a really nice experience overall. So I'm really excited to do that. So yeah, when the conditions are good, I really enjoy adding poles to the sides of my tarps and raising them up. I feel like it just expands the living area so much more. So if I'm able to and the weather is good, I'll definitely be adding poles to my setups. A fun fact is this tarp actually requires the least amount of stakes actually to set up as well. So you only need 6 stakes to set this one up, whereas most other Snow Peak tarps require at least 8. Some require more. So we also got some new lighting from Snow Peak as well. This is the Celeste lantern. It has 2 light modes on this thing. So if you just press down, you can see it has the top light right here, and you can have, multiple different brightnesses for that as well. It has this nice little pool tab. That was kind of a surprise, but you can adjust the height really easily by doing so. And this just clips on. It's like a little metal clip, and you can clip it onto this hook right here. So you can remove it from this if you don't want this contraption going on. So today we brought along the Snow Peak Alpha Breeze. This was actually my very first Snow Peak tent, and still one of my favorites today. It's an awesome tent. I mean, you can't go wrong with an Alpha Breeze. It has good standing height, a good amount of room. It's super simple to set up. Inside the tent, we have our Snow Peak mat and sheet set on the floor here. I've been bringing these mat and sheet sets along with me more and more lately, and it just creates really nice insulation on the floor between you and the ground when you're walking in there. So heading inside the tent now, we have an entire new sleep system going on. So this is the Hest Foamy mattress. These are also Hest pillows up top here. And together this creates a queen size mattress. They're each like individual pads right here. So they're each 30 inches wide. So there is a center split down the line there, and you can kind of notice it. I was hoping that you wouldn't actually feel the difference in between the two of them, but there is a slight gap. Obviously there is an actual gap there, but there's a slight gap feel that you'll notice in between the two of them. And the foamies feel, honestly how they sound, they're very foamy feeling. So they provide a lot of contour. So if you're a side sleeper, they really do cradle to your body really well. I'm a back and stomach sleeper / side sleeper, so I guess a combination sleeper. And, I found they were pretty comfortable, a little bit soft for me. I prefer a little bit more, of a firmer foam feel, kind of like my X-Peds. But if you like a softer feeling mattress, or if you just need that extra contour of the foam, it's not a bad option because there's no adding air to this thing. It's pretty much as is. You just unroll it, lay it out, and it's good to go. You don't have to wait for any decompressing or anything like that. Now, I will say the one con with that, though, is it does take up more room. I mean, the pack size of each one of these is bigger than my double size X-Ped. So definitely account for the size and weight of these things, but as an easy option that doesn't require any inflation or deflation, if you want that softer feel, this definitely provides that. So these are the Hest pillows that they sent us, and both Ashton and I agreed that these things felt fantastic. I mean, they have a really nice supportive contouring feel with the foam here. There's no air added to them. It's just foam pillows, and the whole thing just unzips and collapses into itself. So the outside always keeps the inner pillow clean, which is nice for when you're traveling. So this table here always comes along for inside my tents, but we do have some new additions here. These are the Peace Cabin cushions here, the Wingspread cushions, and I first discovered these when I went to Snow Peak Campfield in Long Beach, Washington, and they had them on all of the futons, and throughout the whole place actually they have their cushions and a different variety of them as well, and they're just absolutely beautifully designed cushions that add so much to my setup, in my opinion. Like, it's the littlest things like this for me that just make the setup so much cozier and just creates a whole different vibe and feel within your tent. And they're very comfortable to sit on. We use them actually both with the Snow Peak couch and just as floor cushions inside the tent. They also sell outdoor cushions. I don't have any of those yet, but man, I really love these cushions, so I'm really thankful that Peace Cabin sent us some over to try out. So in the back of the tent, we have our Pelican Air. This is a new addition as well. I actually got this for our trip to Maui that we just got back from. It's just one of my carry-on cases. I'll always have either a duffel bag, an REI pack-away bin, just something to store my clothes in the back of the tent, generally in this area here. And I find this is the best spot in this tent to store my clothes and stuff like that, because the side back panel here slopes down pretty dramatically to create that A-frame look, and it's not really a super usable space. As you can see, like I'm kind of like kneeling here, and I can't really go any lower. Like, so this section onward towards the back of the tent isn't really usable by any human in terms of like space wise, other than utilizing it for other things like clothes storage and just extra storage in general. So yeah, I really do like keeping my clothes bins towards the back here, and it leaves me with a ton of extra room for other things like table space and just walking around, changing clothes, just maneuvering throughout the tent. It just frees up all the usable space within here. But yeah, it's pretty simple, but everything in here has kind of purpose, and it's not cluttered feeling. It's not a massive tent. This is a 4-person tent, and it's like an 8-foot by 9-foot something footprint, but it feels plenty spacious even with this queen size bed in here. And it has a lot to do with the height, the windows going on in this thing. It doesn't feel stuffy, it doesn't feel crammed. It's just a really nice space to be inside of. All right, well, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for the tour today. If you have any questions about any of the gear you've seen in this video, be sure to drop a comment down below. We can always chat more about this stuff. I've also included affiliate links to everything you've seen in this video in the description. So if you do plan on making a purchase, using those links really does help my channel grow. So I appreciate your support with that. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Take care.